Have you ever woken up with sore legs, stiff joints, or unexplained aches, even though you're eating what you think is healthy, like eggs for breakfast? If so, you're not alone. Millions of people over 60 start their day with eggs, believing they're making a smart, nutritious choice, and in many ways, they're right. Eggs are packed with protein, vitamins, and healthy fats that fuel your body and mind. But here's the shocking truth. The wrong food pairings can turn this superfood into a silent source of inflammation, joint pain, and even mobility issues. That's why you need to watch this video until the end. We're uncovering the 6 surprising foods you should never eat with eggs, plus simple swaps to keep you strong, active, and pain-free, no matter your age. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video. You can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know, so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. Let's dive into one of the most iconic and cherished breakfast combinations known to humankind. Eggs paired with processed meats like crispy bacon, savory sausage, or salty ham. For countless individuals, particularly those over the age of 60, the unmistakable aroma of bacon sizzling in a skillet or sausage patties browning on the stovetop evokes a flood of nostalgic memories. These scents might transport you back to bustling family breakfasts around a crowded kitchen table, lazy Sunday mornings filled with laughter, or the comforting predictability of a daily routine from years gone by. It's a sensory experience steeped in warmth and tradition. But what if this beloved duo, eggs and processed meats, something you've enjoyed for decades, is silently playing a role in the joint pain, leg stiffness, or nagging discomfort you feel as the day wears on? It's a possibility worth considering. Processed meats, while undeniably delicious, come with a hidden cost. They're packed with high levels of sodium, nitrates, artificial preservatives, and saturated fats. Ingredients that, when broken down in the body, can act like tiny sparks igniting a fire of inflammation. For older adults, whose bodies are naturally more sensitive to these compounds and whose detoxification processes have slowed with age, this inflammatory response can be particularly pronounced. The sodium alone can cause water retention, putting extra pressure on already vulnerable joints, while nitrates and preservatives may irritate the system further. Saturated fats, meanwhile, contribute to a buildup of inflammatory markers that circulate through the bloodstream, targeting areas like the knees, hips, and ankles, places where discomfort often lingers. Now, let's bring eggs into the equation. Eggs are a nutritional powerhouse, loaded with protein, healthy fats, vitamins, and minerals that support overall health. But they also contain sulfur-based compounds, which, while harmless on their own, can interact with the nitrates and fats from processed meats in unexpected ways. This combination can elevate levels of uric acid in the blood, a compound notorious for its role in gout, a condition marked by intense swelling, throbbing pain, and stiffness in joints like the knees, feet, and ankles. You might not feel it right away. Maybe it's a subtle ache that creeps in after breakfast, a heaviness in your legs by mid-morning, or a flare-up of discomfort later in the afternoon. Because the effects build gradually, it's easy to miss the connection between that hearty plate of bacon and eggs and the way your body feels hours later. Aging naturally brings changes to how our bodies function, particularly when it comes to circulation. Blood flow to the lower extremities, your legs, feet, and ankles, tends to weaken over time, making these areas prime targets for inflammation and sluggish nutrient delivery. When you throw a breakfast high in inflammatory triggers into the mix, the result can be a noticeable decline in how you move and feel. Perhaps you're walking a little slower than usual, your legs feel weighed down, or you're noticing a prickling numbness or tingling in your feet. It's tempting to chalk it up to just getting older, but diet plays a far bigger role than many realize. So the next time you're tempted to fry up that irresistible strip of bacon to go with your eggs, pause and consider this. Is the fleeting pleasure of those 5 flavorful minutes worth a day spent battling stiffness, soreness, or swelling in your joints? Your body might be whispering, or even shouting, that it's not. The good news? There are smarter, gentler ways to enjoy eggs that won't leave your legs and mobility paying the price, and we'll explore those options shortly. Next, let's turn our attention to another breakfast staple that feels innocent, even soothing: a slice of buttered toast, a tender muffin, or a warm, chewy bagel served alongside your scrambled or sunny-side-up eggs. For many older adults, these refined carbohydrate classics are more than just food, they're woven into the fabric of life. They might remind you of quiet mornings with a newspaper in hand, a quick bite before heading out the door decades ago, or a simple pleasure shared with loved ones. There's an undeniable comfort in their familiarity. Yet, as we cross the threshold of 60, these seemingly harmless choices can start working against us in subtle but significant ways, especially when paired with eggs. Refined carbohydrates, like white bread, store-bought muffins, or traditional bagels, undergo heavy processing that strips away their natural fiber, bran, and nutrients. What's left is a food that digests rapidly, breaking down into simple sugars that flood your bloodstream almost immediately after eating. This causes a sharp spike in blood sugar, which might not sound like a big deal in the moment, but it sets off a cascade of reactions in the body. Your system, sensing this sudden surge, responds as if it's under attack. The immune system kicks into gear, releasing inflammatory chemicals to protect you from the perceived threat, even though it's just a piece of toast or a muffin doing its thing. Over time, these repeated blood sugar spikes and immune responses fuel a state of chronic, low-grade inflammation that simmers beneath the surface, particularly affecting joints, muscles, and soft tissues. Now, pair those refined carbs with eggs, a food that's nutrient-dense and satisfying but also slower to digest due to its protein and fat content. Together, they create a meal that's heavy and sluggish as it moves through your digestive tract. This combination can amplify the inflammatory load on your gut, which is already working harder as you age to process what you eat. And here's the kicker: inflammation doesn't stay neatly contained in your stomach. It spreads through the bloodstream, often settling in areas with already compromised circulation, like your knees, ankles, and feet. That innocent bagel or slice of white toast you enjoyed at 7 a.m. could be the sneaky culprit behind the stiffness in your legs by noon, the swelling in your feet by dinner time, or the nagging ache that keeps you from moving as freely as you'd like. For those already managing arthritis, joint pain, or sluggish digestion, this breakfast combo can quietly exacerbate every symptom, making daily life that much harder. The effect isn't always immediate, which is why it's so tricky to spot. The discomfort builds gradually, maybe over hours, maybe over days, making it tough to trace back to that morning plate. So before you reach for that fluffy white toast, sugary muffin, or chewy bagel to round out your egg breakfast, take a moment to weigh the trade-off. The comfort might feel good going down, but the lingering stiffness, swelling, or fatigue it leaves behind could overshadow your day. Breakfast should lift you up and power you through the hours ahead, not bog you down with hidden consequences. Finally, let's talk about a breakfast indulgence that's hard to resist: a warm, cheesy omelet, a pile of scrambled eggs topped with a gooey layer of melted cheese, or even a simple fried egg with a slice of cheddar draped over it. Cheese has been a breakfast table companion for generations. Its rich, creamy texture and satisfying flavor make it a natural match for eggs. For many, it's a taste of childhood, a small luxury that turns an ordinary morning into something special. But as we age, some of the foods we've adored for years stop returning the favor, and processed cheese, especially the kind that melts into that perfect, stretchy consistency, can quietly transform from a friend into a foe, particularly when paired with eggs. Most processed cheeses are loaded with saturated fats, artificial additives, and a milk protein called casein, all of which can challenge an aging digestive system. As we get older, our gut naturally slows down, becoming less efficient at breaking down heavy, fatty foods. When you combine cheese with eggs, both of which are rich, dense, and high in fat, you create a meal that sits like a brick in your stomach, taking its sweet time to digest. This sluggish process can spark inflammation right at the source, as your gut struggles to handle the load. From there, the trouble spreads. Inflammatory compounds released during digestion enter the bloodstream, circulating throughout the body and often zeroing in on areas like the lower extremities, your knees, calves, and ankles, where circulation is already weaker. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. You might not connect that cheesy breakfast to the stiffness in your joints a few hours later, the dull ache in your legs by afternoon, or the swelling in your feet by evening, but the link is there. For older adults, especially those with sensitive systems or pre-existing joint issues, this combination can turn a meal that once brought joy into a subtle source of discomfort. The effects might not hit you all at once. They could build slowly, quietly, over the course of the day, making it easy to overlook the cause. So, while that cheesy omelet might taste like heaven in the moment, it's worth asking: is the satisfaction worth the strain it puts on your body? There are lighter, kinder ways to enjoy eggs that won't leave your legs and joints feeling the fallout, and we'll unpack those soon. What might seem like a simple, innocent pleasure in your daily diet could actually be laying the groundwork for nagging joint discomfort, sluggish circulation, and even long-term mobility challenges. Take cheese, for instance. It's not necessarily the lone villain here, but rather how it teams up with other rich, heavy foods like eggs in a body that's growing more delicate and sensitive with the passing years. If you've been waking up to find your fingers stiff, your knees swollen, or your legs unusually heavy, and if even a short walk feels more taxing than it once did, it might be worth taking a closer look at what's on your breakfast plate. The good news? You don't have to sacrifice taste or enjoyment to feel better. There are clever, delicious substitutions that can make a real difference. We'll dive into those practical swaps in just a bit. But before we get there, let's shine a light on another surprising dietary culprit that could be doing more harm than you'd ever suspect, especially since it falls under the umbrella of vegetables, which we've always been taught are the cornerstone of a healthy diet. Generally speaking, that's true. Vegetables are packed with nutrients and vitality. Yet, there's a specific category known as nightshades that complicates this picture, particularly for those over 60 who are wrestling with joint pain, leg discomfort, or the creeping stiffness of arthritis. Nightshades include familiar kitchen staples like juicy tomatoes, vibrant bell peppers, hearty white potatoes, and silky eggplant. These are the kinds of ingredients that often find their way into your morning omelet, roasted as a side dish, or layered into a savory breakfast casserole alongside eggs. They're bright, flavorful, and seem like the epitome of wholesome eating. But for some, they harbor a hidden troublemaker called solanine. Solanine is a natural compound found in nightshades, and while it's not a problem for everyone, it can act like a stealthy saboteur in bodies that are sensitive to it, a sensitivity that often emerges or intensifies as we age. This chemical has the potential to irritate nerve endings, spark inflammation in tissues, and exacerbate existing aches, particularly in the joints and lower body. The catch is that this reaction can be so subtle, it's easy to miss the connection. Picture this. You enjoy a hearty breakfast of eggs scrambled with diced tomatoes and peppers, feeling satisfied and nourished. Hours later, though, your knees feel stiffer than usual, or there's a faint burning sensation in your calves as you climb the stairs. You might chalk it up to just getting older, never suspecting that those vibrant veggies could be partly to blame. Over weeks, months, or even years, consistent exposure to solanine from nightshades can quietly amplify joint soreness, nerve irritation, and leg fatigue. When you pair these vegetables with eggs, a food that's already dense and rich, the combination can become a double whammy for your system. Eggs are slow to digest, and nightshades add an extra layer of complexity, making it harder for your body to process the meal smoothly. This struggle can fuel inflammation, particularly in the lower extremities where circulation naturally weakens with age. If you've noticed your joints locking up in the morning, your legs feeling sore or restless, or an odd tingling in your feet that you can't quite explain, nightshades might be playing a bigger role than you've realized. The takeaway here is that even healthy foods aren't universally beneficial. Our bodies evolve over time, and what worked at 40 might not suit us at 60 or beyond. Listening to how your body responds after meals is key, and if clean eating hasn't eased your discomfort, cutting out nightshades for a trial period could reveal some surprising relief. Next, let's turn our attention to another unexpected source of inflammation that sneaks onto our morning plates. Those sweet little extras we love to indulge in. There's something undeniably comforting about starting the day with a touch of sweetness. Perhaps a generous smear of strawberry jam on your toast, a dollop of ketchup drizzled over your scrambled eggs, or a refreshing glass of orange juice poured from the carton. These small treats feel like well-earned rewards, especially after decades of hard work and responsibility. But for those over 60, even modest amounts of added sugar can silently stir up trouble, particularly when it comes to the health of your joints, nerves, and circulatory system. Here's how it works. When you enjoy sugary condiments or sweet beverages, your blood sugar spikes rapidly. Your body responds by releasing insulin to stabilize things. But over time, this roller coaster of highs and lows triggers a damaging process called glycation. In glycation, sugar molecules latch onto proteins in your tissues, like collagen in your cartilage or the lining of your blood vessels, forming stiff, sticky compounds that inflame and degrade these structures. This isn't just a minor inconvenience. It can lead to tangible symptoms. You might start feeling a persistent burning in your calves, a prickly tingling in your toes, or a stubborn stiffness in your knees that lingers longer each day, all without an obvious cause. Many older adults attribute these sensations to the inevitable wear of aging or poor circulation, never suspecting that the real instigator could be that trusty jar of jelly they've been dipping into for years, or that healthy glass of fruit juice they've relied on since their 30s. The trouble deepens when sugar is paired with richer breakfast staples like eggs. Eggs, with their slow-digesting proteins and fats, already demand a lot from your system. Toss in sugar, and you've created a recipe for widespread inflammation. For those managing diabetes, prediabetes, or chronic nerve pain, this duo can be especially unforgiving, amplifying discomfort in ways that are hard to ignore. The bottom line: that hint of sweetness isn't just brightening your morning. It could be quietly stiffening your joints, fraying your nerves, and eroding your ease of movement as the day wears on. Recognizing these connections is the first step toward reclaiming comfort and vitality. And soon, we'll explore how to swap out these troublemakers for options that satisfy without the hidden costs. It might seem like a minor detail, but those little sugary extras and hidden ingredients in your daily diet can quietly pile up, creating a bigger impact than you might realize. If you've been wrestling with persistent aches, nagging numbness, or a creeping weakness in your legs, symptoms that make even simple tasks feel harder, it's worth taking a closer look at what's lurking in your morning routine. These aren't just random annoyances. They could be clues pointing to something you're eating every day without a second thought. Coming up, we'll dig deeper into yet another everyday ingredient that's been cleverly disguised as a healthy choice but could be silently sabotaging your joints with every bite. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. For years, decades, even margarine and butter substitutes were sold to us as the smarter, more modern alternative to traditional butter. Picture the ads: cheerful families spreading margarine on toast, with bold claims about heart health and better living. Many well-intentioned adults, especially those looking out for their families or their own wellness, swapped out butter without hesitation, convinced they were making a responsible choice. It felt like a win, protecting your heart, cutting cholesterol, embracing progress. But fast forward to today, and the truth has come into sharp focus. Margarine, particularly the kind made with hydrogenated oils, isn't the hero it was made out to be. Far from it. In fact, it might be one of the sneakiest culprits on your breakfast table, especially when it's sitting alongside your scrambled eggs. What makes margarine and artificial spreads so problematic? It's all about trans fats, those artificial fats cooked up in labs that sounded like a good idea at the time but turned out to be a health disaster. These trans fats don't just sit idly in your system. They actively stir up trouble. They trigger inflammation across your body, stiffen your arteries like old pipes, and throw a wrench into healthy blood flow. For anyone over 60, this isn't just a minor inconvenience. It's a serious risk. As we age, our circulation naturally starts to lag, especially in the lower body. Think legs, ankles, and feet. Add trans fats to the mix, and it's like pouring sludge into an already slowing stream. Those fats can clog tiny blood vessels, choke off oxygen delivery, and put extra strain on your joints, leaving your body struggling to repair the daily wear and tear. The damage doesn't wait decades to show up. It can creep in faster than you'd expect. Maybe you've noticed a tingling numbness in your toes after breakfast, a dull ache in your calves by mid-morning, or a stubborn stiffness in your knees that wasn't there before. These aren't random. They could be your body waving a red flag. And here's the kicker: margarine is a master of disguise. You might not even realize how often it sneaks into your meals. Are you spreading it on your toast? Using it to fry your eggs? Sautéing veggies in it because it's lighter than butter? Each time, you're likely adding a dose of trans fats that could be fueling the very pain and fatigue that drag you down as the day goes on. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Now, let's pair that margarine with eggs, a breakfast staple for so many. Eggs on their own are nutrient-packed but take a little effort for your body to break down. Combine them with margarine, and you've got a recipe for a heavy, inflammatory meal that puts a double burden on your digestive and circulatory systems. For seniors already navigating joint stiffness, arthritis, or mobility hurdles, this duo can quietly turn up the volume on those struggles. Day after day, that inflammation builds, chipping away at your comfort and ease of movement. But here's the silver lining: you're not stuck with it. There are better, tastier options out there. Natural fats like extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, or even a modest pat of real butter. These swaps bring flavor to your plate without the hidden health traps, supporting your joints and keeping your circulation humming along. So, what's next? We'll tie all this together and show you how to enjoy eggs the smart way, without the sneaky risks that could be holding you back. You might be asking yourself, why does this hit older adults harder than the younger crowd? It's all about how our bodies evolve over time. After 60, two key systems start to wind down: circulation and digestion. Your blood doesn't flow as swiftly as it did in your 20s, oxygen and nutrients don't zip around as efficiently, and your digestive tract takes its sweet time processing what you eat. That slowdown means inflammatory compounds, toxins, and waste products from food don't clear out as fast as they once did. Instead, they hang around longer than they should, building up over weeks, months, even years. Where do they end up? Often in the lower half of your body. Your legs, knees, ankles, and feet. These spots already get the short end of the stick when it comes to circulation, making them prime real estate for inflammation to settle in. That's why so many seniors deal with leg pain, swelling, stiffness, or that heavy, sluggish feeling when they try to get moving. Too often, people chalk it up to just getting older, shrugging it off as inevitable. But here's the truth. A lot of that discomfort isn't just age, it's tied directly to what's landing on your plate every morning. Chronic inflammation isn't loud or obvious at first. It's a slow burn, stacking up quietly with each meal until one day you wake up and your knees groan getting out of bed, or you feel a little wobbly stepping off the curb. Over time, that steady drip of inflammation can sap the strength from your leg muscles, throw off your balance, and make everyday tasks, like climbing stairs or walking the dog, feel harder than they should. For older adults, that's not just a nuisance, it's a real threat. Weaker legs and shaky stability mean a higher chance of falling, and with that comes the risk of fractures, hospital stays, or even losing the independence you've worked so hard to keep. But here's the flip side: food isn't just the problem, it can be the fix, too. By getting savvy about what you pair with your eggs and ditching the worst offenders, you can dial down inflammation, shore up your joints, and keep moving with confidence. Understanding how your body handles food as you age isn't just about dodging discomfort, it's about holding on to your freedom, your dignity, and the life you love. That's worth every mindful bite. The wonderful news is that you don't have to bid farewell to eggs, one of nature's simplest yet most nourishing gifts. Far from being something to avoid, eggs can remain a cornerstone of your diet, especially as an older adult, when you pair them thoughtfully with the right companions. The real secret lies not in the eggs themselves, but in how you elevate them with ingredients that honor your body's needs. Foods that soothe your digestive system, quiet inflammation, and keep your blood sugar steady. Imagine starting your day with a plate that doesn't just fill you up but actively works to support your joints, sharpen your mind, and fuel your vitality. It's not about restriction, it's about building something better, bite by bite. Consider beginning with a handful of leafy greens, perhaps tender spinach, robust kale, or peppery arugula, lightly sautéed in a drizzle of golden olive oil. These vibrant vegetables are more than just a pretty addition. They're powerhouses of antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds that help protect your cells from the wear and tear of time. They glide through your digestive system with ease, leaving behind none of the bloating or sluggishness that heavier foods can bring. When you pair these greens with the rich, golden yolk of an egg, you create a breakfast that's both deeply satisfying and surprisingly light. A meal that energizes you without leaving your joints stiff or your energy lagging. Now, let's add another layer of goodness. Avocado. Picture its creamy, jade-green flesh, smooth and luxurious, offering a richness that rivals butter or cheese but without the downsides. Avocado isn't just a treat for your taste buds, it's a gift to your heart, your brain, and your aching joints. Loaded with monounsaturated fats, it supports cardiovascular health and helps reduce the inflammation that can make mornings feel creaky and slow. Skip the processed cheese that clogs your system and sparks discomfort. Instead, smear a generous dollop of avocado on a slice of hearty whole-grain toast, or scoop it alongside a pair of perfectly poached eggs. The result is a plate that feels indulgent yet leaves you balanced, grounded, and ready to move through your day. If your cravings lean toward something starchy, resist the siren call of white bread or sugary pastries. Reach instead for the earthy sweetness of roasted sweet potatoes or the nutty, delicate grains of quinoa. These are complex carbohydrates, slow-burning fuels that won't send your blood sugar on a roller coaster ride. They digest gradually, providing steady energy that lasts, while their fiber and minerals, like potassium and magnesium, support strong muscles and calm inflammation. Slice a sweet potato into golden rounds and roast it until caramelized. Then top it with a soft-boiled egg for a breakfast that's as comforting as it is healing. Or stir quinoa into a scramble with greens and eggs for a dish that's both rustic and refined. These choices don't just fill your stomach, they fortify your body from the inside out. How you prepare your eggs matters just as much as what you serve them with. Ditch the margarine or artificial butter spreads that break down into harmful compounds when heated. Opt instead for the gentle warmth of extra virgin olive oil or the subtle richness of avocado oil. Better yet, explore cooking methods that require no added fats at all. Boiling, steaming, or poaching. These techniques coax out the egg's natural flavor and preserve its nutrients without introducing the oxidative stress that frying in questionable oils can bring. A poached egg, its white delicately set and its yolk still runny, nestled atop a bed of sautéed spinach and a slice of whole grain toast, is a quiet masterpiece. Simple, pure, and kind to your heart and joints. The beauty of this approach is that it's not about deprivation or rigid rules. It's about crafting meals that align with your body's wisdom, supporting it rather than taxing it. With a few intentional swaps, you transform breakfast from a routine necessity into a daily act of renewal, a source of strength and healing that helps you feel lighter, more limber, and brimming with possibility. Because breakfast isn't just food on a plate. It's a ritual, a small but mighty declaration of self-care. Every forkful you take in the morning sends a signal to your body, setting the tone for how you'll feel as the hours unfold. When you choose ingredients that cushion your joints, tame inflammation, and nourish your spirit, you're not merely eating, you're making a pact with yourself. A promise to walk with less pain, think with more clarity, and age with resilience, grace, and unshakable independence. You don't have to abandon eggs. They can stay a beloved part of your mornings, a reliable friend at the table. But the real question is, who will you invite to join them? Will you let processed meats, greasy hash browns, or sugary spreads crash the party, leaving you stiff and foggy? Or will you surround your eggs with allies, foods that lift you up rather than weigh you down? That choice, made in the quiet of your kitchen, can ripple outward, shaping how your knees bend, how steady your stride feels, and how much zest you carry into the afternoon. The truth is, no matter how many birthdays you've celebrated, you still hold immense sway over how you feel. You don't need to overhaul your life or chase the latest fad diet. Just a handful of mindful decisions each morning can spark profound change. Trading bacon for a pile of greens, white toast for a sweet potato medallion, or a pat of margarine for a swirl of olive oil, these aren't losses, they're investments in your freedom. They're steps toward a body that moves with ease, a mind that stays sharp, and a spirit that refuses to slow down. So tomorrow, as you stand at the stove and crack an egg into a pan, or gently lower it into simmering water, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what kind of day do I want to step into? Let that question guide your hand as you reach for the spinach, the avocado, the quinoa. Let your breakfast become a reflection of your intentions, a plate that doesn't just sustain you but empowers you. Because even in your 60s, 70s, 80s, or beyond, you are still the architect of your well-being. You still have the capacity to evolve, to heal, to thrive. And every morning, with every carefully chosen bite, you get to start anew, building a life that's active, vibrant, and rich with purpose, one delicious breakfast at a time. And there you have it, everything you need to know about how to enjoy eggs the smart way, without the hidden risks that could be quietly chipping away at your comfort and mobility. We've covered why certain breakfast pairings can trigger inflammation, joint pain, and leg discomfort, especially after 60, and how small, simple swaps can turn your morning meal into a source of strength and healing. So, what have you learned so far? Maybe it's the surprising impact of processed meats, the sneaky inflammation from refined carbs, or the power of pairing eggs with leafy greens instead. I'd love to hear from you. Please comment below with one thing you've learned today and how you'll put it into practice in your life. Your story might just inspire someone else to make a change too. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more tips to help you live stronger, healthier, and happier every day. Thanks for watching. We're in this together.